10 years, especially after the economic crisis in Slovenia, we of course felt the urge to actually start developing the creative and cultural industries sector in Slovenia. While Slovenia is one of the only countries actually in Europe that doesn't have a strategy for the creative and cultural industries, no support whatsoever from the government or municipalities. And this was kind of one of the reasons that we thought this would be a super important project. Not just, of course, to work on the policies, to work with the government, but especially to empower the self-employed in this field. Especially after the economic crisis, a lot of people were actually kind of forced to be self-employed, and this population of self-employed working in this sector is still rising. And on one hand, our government is pushing people into self-employment, but on the other hand, there is no actual support actually, especially for this specific sector, where of course people need, when they finish the university and so on, to survive on the market, to market their own skills, to find clients, to negotiate with clients, to sign contracts, to deal with all sorts of bureaucracy and stuff like that. So the idea of Polygon Creative Center is to empower self-employed, working in the fields of creative industries, culture and social entrepreneurship, to give them skills, to give them, but not just skills, most importantly, to give them the community where they can kind of collaborate together, where trust is established, which enables people to share their ideas and to start working together on projects. And most importantly, also to generate social capital, which is super important if you want to start new projects. As we all know, it's sometimes super hard to get investments or bank loans, especially if we are talking about a younger population who is just starting their entrepreneurial career. And of course, they have great ideas, but total lack of finance to do this. So our idea is to have a community where people can actually collaborate together, help each other, start projects, and use this social capital to develop projects. I think one of the most important milestones in what we were doing was introducing crowdfunding to Slovenia, which really enabled people to use global platforms to raise much needed finance to start their projects. Slovenia became quite a phenomenon concerning crowdfunding, and in the period of 2012 to 2016, over 6 million euros were raised actually through crowdfunding platforms on a global level. I think 99% of the money came from backers all around the world, which actually enabled a lot of young people to start their projects and are still kind of alive. They are still working on their projects, developing them further, employing people, and most importantly, having local production in Slovenia and global distribution all over the world. We are talking mostly about like different kind of products and industrial design projects and so on. So this is the kind of things that we do here. Also, besides, of course, fostering this community, which is very multidisciplinary, I think this is like the biggest asset of this community, that we have so many different profiles, from architects, designers, to artists, to engineers. So this is like instant access to different kind of expertise and of course possibilities for developing various projects. The community is also very international. About 20% to 30% of our members are foreigners, which also is super important because on one hand we're experiencing brain drain, especially young creative people leaving Slovenia for more cool places like Berlin and places like that. So we lost quite a lot of very talented people, but on the other hand, people from all around the world are coming here to Ljubljana to work here, and this also kind of contributes a lot to the development of the local entrepreneurial and creative ecosystem, and also to the community, you know, new knowledge, new social networks and stuff like that. So this is the community part, but also events are super important. Polygon has hosted over 900 events in the last 4 years that were attended by over 40,000 people. And what we, on one hand, we are hosting events, doing co-productions, and on the other hand, we're also producing our own events with an idea to highlight the important topics that we think are super important for the development of the sector. And on one hand, we're bringing knowledge to the community. but also inviting government stakeholders, because they are not learning things, and by inviting them to the conferences, we like to educate them about new concepts like crowdfunding, co-working and stuff like that, so they can kind of develop policies accordingly. And one of the last conferences that we